Forests are constantly changing, not only because of the forces of mankind, but also because of the forces of nature. Natural disturbances are an integral part of Canada's forest ecosystems and have been ever since the glaciers retreated nearly 10,000 years ago. Fire, for example, frequently disturbs our forest, and there's evidence to suggest that that may become more frequent as our climate changes. So when we make a decision to harvest timber, our touchstone is to ask ourselves, what would nature do here? So we see irregular shaped harvest boundaries. We see standing timber left intentionally in these areas, and we see islands where no disturbance has taken place. And the reason we do this is to try to emulate the kind of disturbance pattern that a fire would have left on that landscape. We shouldn't look at fire as being good or bad. We should look at it for what it is. It's natural. And in some cases, it poses a threat to human life, to structures that mankind has put in place. But it's also a natural part of that ecosystem, and it's critical for the continued regeneration and renewal of those ecosystems. Another natural disturbance in Ontario's forests and forests right across Canada are insects. And these disturbances can be small and very large. A classic example of that is what we see in Western Canada with the mountain pine beetle infestation.
So we've seen the mountain pine beetle go from 163,000 hectares in '99 to 13.5 million hectares in 2007. So it's an overwhelming amount of timber that's being affected, unprecedented globally. So the reason for the rapid expansion of the mountain pine beetle, we don't have the killer temperatures in the winter. We're seeing milder winters, droughtier, hotter summers. And the second factor is that we've been putting out wildfires for almost 100 years, and we've tripled the amount of old age pine, which is the host for the pine beetle. We're addressing the epidemic in a number of ways. The province has a provincial mountain pine beetle action plan where all the agencies' activities are coordinated. It's an effort between the federal government, British Columbia government, municipalities, local governments, regional districts, First Nations, the Alberta government, Parks Canada, so it's a full court press by all the jurisdictions and people affected by it. And it's evolved very much from a biophysical file to a socioeconomic file, in that, it was very forestry related in the first 3 to 4 years, but now we're starting to see those impacts show up in those economic engines in our rural communities, and now it's about diversification of those economies.
One of the basic foundations for managing our forests is the notion of sustainable development, where we try to find a balance among social, economic, and environmental needs. And this is what really guides us in our day-to-day decision-making on what's best for our forests.